Welcome back to Racing 360 and our preview of Super Saturday tomorrow night in Dubai. One of the interesting races on the undercard is the Group 2 Dubai City of Gold, and this is the last stepping stone towards the Group 1 Dubai Shima Classic on World Cup night.
See, this was a funny race last year. There was absolutely no tempo in it. Small field this year. It seems a little bit light on chances, Stuart.
There's only 3 horses I like in it. Yeah, only 3, I think, 3 decent chances. Horses that have really proven it in Group 1 races before. Yeah, not the strongest. Hopefully the Shima Classic can build on this, because this isn't terribly good.
Fair enough. Well, what about Godolphin or Masterstroke? We're going to start off by talking about first, formerly with Andre Fabre, third in the Prix de l'Arc de Triomphe for brilliant performance.
It's well beaten this day by... Oh, I don't like watching this replay, but... Oh, there it is. Fabre wins this, doesn't he? Oh, no, he doesn't. Salenia wins it. But look, what do you make of this form in general, Jerry, and the depth of it behind the first and second horses?
Well, the fact is he was able to, excuse me, get through the ground, because it was bottomless on that occasion, and got through it, and he had a horse he'd formed before on firmer, faster tracks. The thing is that was for Andre Fabre, and now he's gone to Godolphin. I don't think Godolphin can improve on what Fabre does. And horse with a similar profile in this race, Cavalryman, he was also third in the Arc in 2009 to see the stars. And then his form just dropped off a cliff. So I hope the same doesn't happen with Masterstroke.
He ran second in this race last year, Cavalryman. Yeah,
but he was a 6-year-old then. It took him so long to recover something. And now he's 7. So I think tactics are going to be important in this race. There's no pace. It could be that Cavalryman might be the one to go forward, but it's difficult to work out.
Last year he sat back. He was expected actually to sit closer to the speed. He sat back on a pedestrian pace and sort of plugged into second. We saw this horse line up in the Melbourne Cup and finish in behind them. But look, against his competition on Saturday, he's got to be given a leading chance. Although, you know, I don't know about backing him if he's too short, that's all.
OK, so Godolphin may not dominate proceedings here. What about some of the other contenders?
I think the main one to look at is number 2, Await the Dawn. He used to be trained in Ireland by Aidan O'Brien. Now he's gone to Mike de Kock. He's a horse that always looked like being a Group 1 winner. He was turned over in a Group 1 when he was an odds-on chance 2 years ago at York. Had a little bit of time off since, but I like the way he won on turf here over 10 furlongs last time out. And he won from a Group 3 winner. It just looks like he's on the improve. He's 6-year-old now, and I think he can hold those younger, well, Masterstroke. So I think Await the Dawn would be the one to beat for me. Mike
de Kock has described Await the Dawn as a project horse. I think he's been a real challenge for the stable to come right and to come into form, but now he is in form, as Jerry mentioned. He has to be a leading chance on some of what he's seen before, now that he is in tip-top shape. Because he went through a real flat patch, a very ordinary patch in his racing form.
So Await the Dawn from Jerry Green, and Jason, you've gone with Godolphin here, Masterstroke. So again, we've got Godolphin v Mike de Kock.
Yeah, very much.
Yeah, I hope Await the Dawn wins also for his jockey Pat Cosgrave. He's been an understudy at that stable for some time, and he gets his chance here.
OK. The Group 3 Bergner Half Field. This race is the lead up to the Godolphin Mile on Dubai World Cup night.
And a pretty competitive race, this one. You've got Ahmed Aktabi on Moonwalk in Paris, a horse that will highlight successful in the fire break. African Story, who was successful last year and also went on to win the Godolphin Mile. Hong Kong connections with Red Jazz. We didn't get to see him in December. He came out of the Longines Hong Kong Mile, but we'll get to see him on Saturday night with Ryan Moore aboard. Barbecue Eddie. Love a barbecue and don't mind the chance of the horse, even though it's drawn out wide.
Yeah, he's a grand old horse, isn't he? He's a 9-year-old. He's such a regular fixture at the meeting, and he's probably never been in better form. He's won 4 of his last 5 at the age of 9. It's some doing.
Have you ever moonwalked in Paris? That's an interesting name too.
I've been to Paris, but I can barely walk straight, let alone pull off a moonwalk in any sort of rhythmical Michael Jackson-like capacity. This is Moonwalk in Paris, and behind them, and here's Octavian, the red cap, charging along the rail. He may have even touched the rail. He knocked over a couple in this and got 3 days off riding, but it's a pretty sort of dominant performance, Moonwalk in Paris.
Yeah, he'll need the brakes, he'll need the speed on. However, it does appear that there is pace in the race from numbers 1, 3, 12, 13. They could be horses to take him along forward, but he will need the splits. Has the talent, though, as we saw.
And as his jockey, Ahmed Aktabi, agrees.
Here's our winning rider, Ahmed Aktabi. Ahmed, it was a very difficult way through.
Yeah, actually, look, I'm draw one, and I knew the pace, like 4 or 5 horses want to make the pace. So I spoke with the trainer, and he said, just ride them how you find them and try to be behind the fan. But, you know, he was fast early on, so I pushed him for 1 furlong, couldn't go anywhere. So I was happy when Sylvester crossed me because he's in good horse. Yeah. So I just try follow him. I don't want to be get him wide because I'm next to the rail, so I wait for the gap open, and he have some gear when he changed, you know. It was unbelievable.
He's very willing because there was difficult gaps for him to go through, but no problem, off he went.
Yeah, actually, and you know, don't remember, that horses come from France, and you know how the races there, you have all the horses in France have good turn of foot. So I think he was happy with him, and he was like a machine in last 2 for him.
Great stuff. Thank you very much, Ahmed. Well done.
Thank you.
Well, certainly a dominant performance, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was Moonwalk in Paris. The Barbecue Eddie, as Jerry has touched on, obviously getting on in years, but thought the performance wasn't much inferior to Moonwalk in Paris, covered more ground and didn't go dissimilar sectionals. Problem is, he's going to have to cover ground from the draw on Saturday, but I'll be keeping a close eye on his price when that comes up.
And we'll be keeping a very close eye on the US contender, Dullahan, and we know he has a liking for synthetic tracks.
He's a real all-weather specialist, Jerry, as his American form shows, but he lines up over 1,600 metres, which I think is an interesting sort of booking.
Yeah, he's unbeaten on these sort of synthetic surfaces, 3rd in the Kentucky Derby, so that reads well. However, this is more of a prep for the Dubai World Cup. The trainer wants to get this horse and Little Mike into the World Cup, as we said. This guy, he'll be doing his best work at the finish. I could see him finishing 3rd, perhaps 2nd.
It's real tricky because he's probably going to be locked up on the rail from his post position, and he's going to have to need a bit of luck to get out from there. It's not easy to see a race scenario that will have him win unless he proves to be many classes above and gets clear running the last 300 metres.
Yeah, well, Fallon, he's one
of the
he's pretty adept in those situations, so I'd be happy with him taking over.
Okay, yeah, that's Dullahan, the Pacific Classic winner, with Kieran Fallon to ride for the first time tomorrow night in the Burj Nahar. So how do you see this race playing out amongst the others, especially African Story? This horse won the 2012 Godolphin Mile and is going to be a real contender tomorrow night in this race.
Yeah, quality horse in his own right, African Story, and he does operate in a fresh state as he's proven in the past. We've seen him here in Hong Kong, finished not too far away from them.
Yeah, he was 6th in the Champions Mile, didn't really have the race run to suit, as a number of horses did on that occasion. Hasn't been seen out since. Remember last year at the World Cup, he was the good thing of the meeting, and he won the Godolphin Mile by 4 lengths, and he won this race, the prep beforehand. So, he goes well fresh, don't see why he can't do it again.
So, on top of your picks, would you say?
African Story.
Be interesting again just to see what price he comes up at.
Probably might be 2nd favourite, I'd imagine, to Moonwalk in Paris.
In which case you'd have to say value. I thought maybe if African Story was favourite, then I'd go with the 2nd favourite. So I'll be playing the 4 or the 5, but it just depends on exactly how the prices shake up.
Yeah, and then Dullahan, I think he can, if he can get the breaks in the straight, I think he could run on to a minor share of the prize.
Okay, so Jerry and Jason at loggerheads here. Jerry with African Story, Jason Moonwalk in Paris. Well, African Story won this race last year. Let's have a look at a replay as we go to a break on Racing360.
Racing in the Burj Nahar. African Story now 4th on the rail. African Story takes the lead from Snaffy. African Story's gone for home. 70 metres left to go. African Story wins.